Let me tell you a story about a couple who vanished off the coast of Florida. Their names were Josh and Marissa Hayes. They were both in their early 30s, loved the outdoors, and practically lived on the water every weekend. They weren't reckless. They weren't inexperienced. They just disappeared. And when people finally figured out what happened, it didn't make any sense. So this happens in late October 2017. The weather was clear, barely a cloud in the sky. Josh and Marissa launched their boat from a private dock near Cedar Key. They told friends they'd be back before dark. It was just a casual Sunday ride. A little fishing, maybe anchor somewhere for lunch. Nothing unusual. But that afternoon, Josh left a voicemail for a friend. You can hear wind hammering through the phone. His voice is panicked, shouting over the engine. He says something about a storm that came out of nowhere. They were just trying to find shelter. The call cuts off abruptly, static, nothing else. They just never came back. Search teams scoured the Gulf waters for days. No boat, no debris, nothing. It was like they just vanished into open air. Then 2 years later, a group of marine biology students found something. They were doing tide studies along the coast when they spotted a tiny island. No name, not on any charts, just thick with trees and barely accessible. It didn't show up on their GPS and it hadn't been recorded into the region's historical surveys. But they rode in and started looking around. And that's when they found it. A moldy canvas bag buried near roots of a mangrove tree. Inside was a broken GoPro, a dead phone, and a damp, almost illegible journal. The name Josh Hayes was written on the inside flap. And what was written in that journal was terrifying. The entries started normal. Josh talks about how the storm rolled in fast, like it wasn't a storm at all, just like a wall of wind and fog. They tried to turn back but got pulled off course. Eventually they saw land, a narrow, muddy shore, just big enough to beach the boat. They waited for the storm to pass, but it never really did. The fog just stayed. On day 2, they started exploring the island, and that's when things started to get really weird. They found what looked like shrines made of bones and driftwood, stacked stones tied with twine and feathers, symbols carved into the bark. Marissa thought it might have been an old fishing camp, but Josh said it just felt off, like they weren't alone. By day 3, they tried to leave, but no matter what direction they turned, they just kept ending up at the same shore. Josh even sketched in the journal 3 different attempts, all of them circling back. Then things got worse. That night, they heard something in the woods. Voices, low and muffled, like some type of groaning, and this faint, steady thumping, almost like drums. Josh wrote that they stayed by the fire with a knife in hand, but whatever was out there never showed itself. Over the next few days, their entries became more frantic. And then that's just it. There's no footage of what happened after. It just cuts the waves, fog, and wind. Authorities combed the area after the journal was found. But to this day, Josh and Marissa's boat has never been recovered. Their bodies were never found. And the only evidence that they were ever there was a journal. So what do you think happened? Let me know in the comments below.